Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome to Write the Docs. This is a London community of technical writers and documentation aficionados. I am Elisa, and my co-organizer, Paulina, and I, we organize monthly meetups for the community so we can talk about technical writing and all things documentation. And with that, I'll pass the mic to Alexey.
Welcome. Thank you for coming. This is a new place for the Write the Docs meetup. I hope you enjoy this office, and hopefully we'll have more events here in future. A little bit about this place. You are in the Flipper Devices office and on the ground floor, and quite soon this area will be transformed into the creative space called Flipper Hug Space, as like a space for geeks, nerds, and anyone passionate about technology. It will unite hardware lab, co-working, and event venue. A little bit about myself. My name is Alexey. I'm a technical writer here at Flipper Devices. You know, technical writers come from different backgrounds, and my background is aeronautical engineering. I learned how to build airplanes and helicopters, and I worked for several years as an engineer. My first technical writing job was at Boeing. I worked in the team that developed repair manuals for Boeing 737NG and 737 MAX airplanes. Yeah, that's my story. Why am I having this presentation? You know, it all started back in April this year when I attended Write the Docs London meetup for the first time, where Elisa was very curious about our company, what we do, and I told her that we develop hardware. We are a hardware company, and we write documentation for it, and that for us, documentation is a product, and it must be as good as the product itself. And she was super excited about it and asked if I was willing to have a talk about it. So here I am 5 months later, standing in front of you, and we'll be telling you about how we create documentation both for our website and quick start guides and other instructions. Today's presentation structure, there will be 2 parts. In first part, we will cover what we document, the scope of our documentation, the challenge we face, not only in our company, but we technical writers as a whole, and also how we structure our documentation and work with visuals, and why visuals are so important to us, and maybe they will be for you after this presentation. And then there will be a Q&A session. Please, if you have a question, write it down, and I will answer all of your questions during this Q&A. And then there will be a short break, a 15-minute break. And then we'll get back to presentation with part 2, where we'll cover quick start guides, how we develop them, as well as you'll learn about Unskippable instructions, what are they, and also instructions on devices and boxes. Then Q&A, and we'll call it a day. About our company, as I said, a hardware company, and we we have 3 products at the moment. The first product is called Flipper Zero. It's in my hand here, and this product is in mass production, and we have fully developed user documentation for it, and we'll cover this device in part number 1 of today's presentation. We also have Busy Bar. It's here. And this device is at the stage of preparing for mass production, and we are actively developing documentation for it. And we'll cover it partially in second part of today's presentation. And we also have Flipper One, and it's in the research and development stage, and we will not cover it this time, but maybe next year when we will have more information about it. So let's say we need to create documentation for Flipper Zero. Let's talk about the scope. This device is a Flipper Zero is a Swiss Army knife for interacting with technologies around access control systems. And in a way, this device is actually unique, and there were no such devices before. And it affects how we communicate information about this device. So it has various features, like it can record various signals from radio remotes, save them, and play them back. It can do the same with infrared remotes, with contactless cards, some of the contactless cards, and also with iButton keys. And it can act as an input device as I do it right now. And it can be used for exploring another hardware. But there are not only the features of the device itself, but there is a whole ecosystem around the device. which gradually increasing the complexity of our documentation, user documentation. And there are hardware modules for the device. There are companion applications, both on mobile and desktop, and there are various web services that we need to document in order to create great documentation. Well, what are the goals of our documentation? I put them simply here, like two goals. One is aimed at us as a company and another at users. The user's goal is to teach users how to use our devices in such a way that they understand. But for us, for example, if a user has some kind of a question and finds this question in our user documentation, they will not address this question to our customer support team. And by doing this, we're saving this team from being overwhelmed with questions. What are the numbers I'm talking about? In December last year, we have a record number of unique visits of our documentation in the span of 1 month, and there were 100,000 unique visits of our user documentation. So basically, we literally saved those guys. But who are those 100,000 readers? We split them into groups. The first group is beginners, those who know nothing about the device, but they saw it on the internet and are super curious about learning new technologies and play with them. And also there are professionals, those who use them for their hardware projects, or they are penetration testing engineers, or they are embedded software developers. And what is the proportion of each? Because it will determine how we communicate information about our device, how we deliver the information, how to use it. And the proportion looks like this. The beginners are the majority. And that's how we deliver information, how we write our docs. But at the same time, we should not forget about professionals, because they're also using our device. And that's why we have various technical details sprinkled on top of our documentation. For example, various frequencies that the device operates, protocols that are implemented, and various data structures that are used in the device. And it dictates how our tone of voice looks. And there are 3 principles of our tone of voice. And the first one is clear and accessible. And it's about how we write in such a way, about complex things in such a way that people understand. It also being friendly. We deliver information in a very friendly, humane way, no corporate language. And also, the third principle mostly applies to our blog posts, but I will mention this principle here as well. It's open and honest. If we face some kind of a problem, challenge while developing a new product, we openly say about it, and we're not hiding anything. And this tone of voice is described as just a part of our style guides. And this style guide covers multiple topics, starting with mission, audience, structure and layout, grammar, and ending with humor. And this is how this style guide looks on the inside. And for me, as a writer, it's a pure joy to use it and get information from it. And this style guide is invaluable in facing the challenge for technical writers, not only in our company, but as a whole. And this challenge is social media. Fast-changing visuals, instant gratification, very easy navigation, just swiping in order to get information, and also constant gratification, as I mentioned. Sorry, and it dictates how we need to communicate with people who consume this information in order to make something that they will find interesting and will be reading. And bad and boring documentation is not an option. What is the problem? Let's outline the problem, and this problem is for all of us, that users don't like to read docs. It's true, it's sad, but it's true. And what do? We try to attract and maintain readers' attention through visuals, through smart data structuring, and page layouts. But for us, as I mentioned, this device is new, and there was nothing like it before, there is another problem. Users have no idea how to use it. And what we need to do, we need to show how to use it through visuals, through videos, and other means. And this is what our team does. We try to attract them attention and show. And who are they? Our team. We have a technical writer. I'm the only technical writer in the company as of now. We have a dedicated illustrator who works with me in order to create amazing visuals. We have a videographer who creates video instructions. And we also have an editor who makes sure that our language, our communication is in accordance with our style guides. We have a technical editor who makes sure that our documentation is technically correct overall. But also we have experts, those who develop specific modules or parts of the device and know all the internals and know all the secrets, and we communicate them as necessary. Okay, so this team gets busy creating documentation, and we are very hard at work, but we need to think about one important thing, and this thing, what readers see before they get to your doc. And what they see before they get is the search result. How does your documentation look like in Google, for example, results? Is there a fav icon? Is it at the first place? Is it well indexed? But also, what's important for us, links to documentation are shared via private chats. And in this case, we use preview images and thorough descriptions of what's on the page. And this all helps to build credibility with the reader long before they find your page and your instructions. Then the reader gets to the main page, and this is how it looks for us. And we try to say right away that this is a documentation website where the user will find docs they need. And we also use simple look and structure of the page with those tile links that redirect the reader to all the major sections in our documentation. But also we have the sidebar, and this sidebar has a very simple hierarchy, mostly 2 levels with very short titles. We aim at no more than 30 characters per title. Then the user gets to the page, but we need to build this page. And let's talk how we do this in our company. And I use the word build because we are creating pages using various building blocks. What are they? It's a heading, it's an illustration, it's a text, bold text, a screenshot, also a custom callout, a divider, an empty space, and also various icons. These are building blocks that help, if they are placed in an appropriate way, will guide the user into the information they need and find it as quickly as possible. And a simple thing as just the size of a text and boldness will determine in what order the information will be consumed. As simple as this. And just a wall of text doesn't work, unfortunately. No one reads word by word. Readers usually scan pages. And that's why we use such a thing as rhythm in our documentation, and we place various points of interest on the page so that the reader never gets bored. This is a visual rhythm with various screenshots and headings and bold text placed in such a way that it's very engaging, and it's really captivating to look at, I think. Yeah, and another important aspect of our documentation that we aim at is combining instructions. We try to unite them and not splitting them across various docs. You know, it's very tempting to just split, to create a tiny docs and then unite them with links. We try not to do that. Let's have a look at the example of, for example, providing instructions on how to read the radio remote with this device and then saving the signal and then playing it back. How the structure will look like. Of course, we have an intro where we'll describe what the main feature, how it works. Then, of course, we need to include what the reader will learn on this page. And only after that, we start the instructions themselves, like how to read the signal. And then we show what to press on the device and where to go here. And we also show the troubleshooting steps right away. Sorry. Troubleshooting steps right away. We are not moving it to a different page, different link. We try to do all this in one page. Then how to save the captured signal and how to send it, and if something goes wrong. I will repeat, it's all on one page. It's all a single user flow. Here is how it will look like in a table of content of a real page. Of course, you will not be able to see the intro and what the reader will see here, but there is like how to read the button keys, the troubleshooting step, how to save and edit, and also how to send the signal, and what if sending failed. And structure is very important, but for us, there is another important thing that we have to implement in our documentation to maintain that attention that I was mentioning earlier. And this is illustrations, where readers will find illustrations in our documentation in the very beginning of each page. All of our docs pages have an illustration in the very beginning. The idea is that this illustration will provide basic information what this page is about. The idea is that reader will get the main idea without reading. And this is how other main illustrations from different pages look like. Let's have some kind of an interactive here. Can you guess what's the main idea of a page where this image is located? There is a bug, and there is a pointing something on a phone. So the main idea of this page, reporting bugs found in mobile application. Okay, what about this illustration here?
Checking your cat's RFID.
Yeah, scanning RFID microchip inside of a cat. Yeah, there is such a functionality in the device. And let's find something more difficult, like this.
Waking from sleep, I'd say. Power cycle effectively, something like that.
Yeah, very close. It's what to do if the device freezes. It's like how to reboot the device. It's like pressing two buttons for 5 seconds to reboot it. All right, great. But there is another usage for illustrations in our documentation. Illustrations are fantastic tools to show physical interactions with objects in space. And that's why we use them a lot. Why do we use them? It's very simple, and here are two examples. We all know how to hold a phone. We all know how to open a laptop, but users have no idea how to use this device. And of course, we need to show it. And here are examples that we use a lot in our docs. On this image, we show how to hold the device and the proximity cards in such a way so the device captures information from the card, and how to hold the device against the reader in order to successfully send data. And here there is an infrared module, and how to hold and point the device in such a way to successfully send signal to a TV, for example. And here, as I do right now, how to hold the device if you use it as a presentation clicker. But what if we need to show something that's on the device, like on this device or on a PC or a mobile? In this case, we use screenshots. And this is how we organize our screenshots. It's not just copy and paste. For example, here for mobile, we show with the frame of a phone every single time we have a screenshot for mobile. And all the steps necessary to complete an action. And here, an example of a desktop application. Again, we show the whole application and all the necessary steps to complete the action. And what about this device? If we need to show something that's going on here, there's a tiny screen, and there's so many various indicators. In this case, we organized them like this. It looks very busy. I will walk you through this. Of course, we need to show what's going on the screen. Then we need to show what those indicators mean. And we also need to show where the user will find this particular screen. We have this path to the screen. And also, it was a request from the community what those LED indications mean and what's this expected behavior of the device. And the context. For example, this screen will only be visible if there is a hardware module attached on top of the Flipper Zero. And here, just like a hint how to hold the device. All right, but what if the instruction is so important or so complex that we need to show it in a very clear and understandable way? In this case, we use videos. And videos are very important in our docs. You will see it on the next slides. But here is an example of a video of a very simple interaction with the device on how to reboot it, how to press specific buttons for a specific number of seconds. It's important because when the device was released, it wasn't stable. It froze a lot. And we have a dedicated page how to reboot the device. So, yeah. And many people were complaining that how can I reboot the device? And we filmed this video. It's simple, but it works. And fewer people started addressing this issue to the customer support team. And we're not alone here. Actually, many companies, like even Apple, with their one of the latest products, Apple Vision Pro, have simple videos of simple, basic physical interactions with their devices, like here. Sorry. They show how to remove and how to attach another strap. And that's it. That's the whole video. Here are other examples, like interactions with the microSD cards. So there is a microSD card and microSD slot. And the problem with microSD cards is that they can be inserted in both ways, actually. And only one of them is correct. And users try to push the incorrect way the microSD card, and they break the microSD slot, and the device is basically unusable after that because all information is stored on the microSD card. And we had to film a video how to do it properly. Yeah, it's simple, but for some reason, people understand this more than if we would describe it in text. And after some time, we realized that users were having a very hard time removing a microSD card from the device. And we filmed a video how to remove after several months. Yeah. Yeah, it's simple. It's hilarious. Yes, I understand, but but we learned the hard way that, and many complaints in our customer support, like your device is broken, the microSD card is broken, I received it and it was already broken, you know. Yeah, and all of those videos we film in a special filming set that we have in our company. It looks a little bit busy. We have 3 sources of light, 2 on top, 1 at the bottom, and the device is placed on the acrylic glass. And there is a camera with a special filter that removes all the reflections. And interestingly, I also filmed some of the videos in our documentation when our team was smaller and we didn't have a dedicated person who would film everything. Yeah, so some of the videos are mine. You might think, guys, like, why do you film? Why do you have such a complex set? You could just film it on a table, right? Our aim is to make videos in such a way that they will blend in with the page. So the background will match the background of the page. It looks nice, and it also elevates the reader experience. And if you watch closely, you will probably see the boundaries, but I'm not sure. Actually, there. Yeah. And what if we didn't care? What if we just filmed as is without this set? This will probably look something like this. Not good. Immediately looks amateurish, not professional, as if we didn't care, for real. And for me, as a technical writer, I decide when we need such an instruction, video instruction or documentation, and I tell the videographer what to do and how to film it. And this is an example of a real task that I created for the videographer. It just shows how the devices need to be positioned against each other and what should be written on the video. And these are just my comments for this particular scene. And I'm curious how the final result looks like. Yes? Okay, let's see it. This is for the hardware module for Flipper Zero, and there are two cases when the device is in the case or without the case, this rubber case. And if there is a case on the device, this bumper will need to be removed. And we had to make it so clear, because impossible to make a mistake, so we filmed the video. You might think, guys, you have unhealthy relationships with visuals. I understand it may look like this, but we believe that visuals are just working better than text in delivering information on how to interact with physical devices. And let me play with you one game that will prove that we consume information visually in parallel, whereas if we read a text, we consume it sequentially. We read word by word, letter by letter. On the next slide, I will show you an image for a very, very short time, and then I will ask you what you saw there. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. How many fingers? 3. The background color? Left or right hand? Ethnicity? Yeah, I know it's controversial, but it's white. Yes, gender, again controversial, but male. Age approximately? Mid-30s. Exactly. Yeah, and you consume this information in 1 second, 1 single second. Imagine if you describe it in text and show it for 1 second. Of course, you would not be able to consume it. Yeah, that's how our brain works. Yeah. So, enough with visuals. Let's talk about keeping our documentation mobile friendly. More and more people are consuming information through their phones, and especially Zoomers, they are not leaving their phones at all. They do everything using them, and unfortunately, many hardware companies are still using PDF as a way to deliver documentation. And it's PDF, unfortunately, doesn't work well on mobile. And here is an example of how I try to read information on my phone. Oh, there are screenshots. That's good. How to read this information? Okay, maybe I should turn my phone, right? But it's not great. So that's why, even though we are a hardware company, we try to keep our documentation mobile friendly. And it all starts on the main page. Do you remember those tiles that I showed in the very beginning? Here are they. And they are they work really good for mobile devices. And we also have a, sorry, but sidebar for hardware companies, it's not common. Yeah, and with all the docs available there. And for example, if we go somewhere up to sub-gigahertz, I guess, this is how our page looks like. Everything adapts for mobile. But also at the bottom, we have links specifically for mobile users that leads to corresponding and relevant docs. All right, let's discuss the performance. We use a lot of visuals, illustrations, screenshots, videos, and we need to make sure that our docs load fast. And we do visual elements that we use in our documentation. For example, for illustrations, we aim at JPEG, no more than 500 kilobytes. For diagrams, PNG, because PNG is higher quality, and no more than 700 kilobytes. And for videos, no more than 3 megabytes. I know videos are tricky because they can have different lengths, but we try our best to keep them under 3 megabytes. If we can, of course, we compress them even more but keeping the high quality of visuals. What else might affect performance of your documentation and the overall satisfaction with your docs? Broken links. We're just checking every 6 months if there are broken links by a simple dead link checker. You enter your URL there, click check, and yeah, it will highlight if there are any broken links and something you need to fix. All right, let's say we created amazing documentation manual. Users enjoy reading it, they love it. But we should not stop there, we should improve. And how we do this, because the device was quite viral, and probably is, we have huge communities across different platforms. But most active communities are on Reddit and Discord, and we have our community managers there that observe if there are any issues our users face, and if there's something that needs to be added to our documentation. And they report it in our Slack, where we discuss the issues, we categorize them, and also make sure that what's important is added to our docs. What else do we have? We have open comments in our documentation. That's not common, I know, but anyone can leave a question or comment or feedback, and we will review it. Of course, we moderate them and to keep the comments relevant, but it's a great feature, and it's so beautiful to see when users interact with each other and answer to other users' questions with their comments. And for those who are shy, we have a feedback form. I know that it's quite common, but just a simple question: was this page helpful? Yes, no, and feedback form. And let's address the elephant in the room. Does this effort even matter? And for us, it does, at least for 89% of those who leave their feedback under our documentation pages. What do they say? It's like a warning, too much text on the next slide. Yeah, but bear with me, we'll go through it together. Yeah, so they praise design. How does our website look like, the layouts and ease of navigation, the available information, and also that it's quite easy to find information they look for, and they follow the instructions. And I think that that's a proof that actually it does matter. Yeah. Q&A. Thank you.
I hope this is quick. You said you were using PNG for graphics because of the quality. Does SVG not give you the same quality?
No, we never use this format. We mostly stick to JPEG and PNG. Yeah, but we should probably consider another formats as well. Yeah. Yep.
I actually do have two questions. One was, have you considered using dark mode as an option? Well, have you considered using dark mode as an option? Mm-hmm. Well, this might have a conflict with the video at the beginning while you have a dark background. That's what many are using.
Mm-hmm. We intentionally chosen to keep our documentation in white mode only. It's locked because our device is white, and we wanted to keep the, like the visual harmony, if you will.
No, it's cool. It's cool. You are allowed to do those decisions. My other question is, how did you go into the coding process? How did you build it, actually? Did you validate it into W3C standards?
The coding, you said?
Yeah. How the code has been built.
The code, I'm not a software developer. We have dedicated people, super smart. As you can see, as I said, I'm a mechanical engineer. But our guys are using C, C++, and I'm not sure if they're using it. Sorry?
I don't think with that.
They program using C, C++.
No, I mean for the web page.
Oh, the web page.
I'm talking about the documentation. Yes.
Oh, okay. We use a available solution. We use a platform called RHB, and it's just a software as a service, and we just use them. The available ready solution, and we are just as the writers and editors, we just fill the information we need and press publish, and it's available. Yeah.
How do you publish your videos? Do you embed them within your documentation pages?
We have our special dedicated server. We upload the videos to this server, and we get the URL, and we just insert it, embed it into our documentation, and it just renders nicely. Yeah.
What does your negative feedback look like?
I expected this question, and I tried to look into the negative feedback. And interestingly, but whenever users have the no feedback, in most cases they do not write anything, like empty. It's no, it's not. Yeah, but sometimes they just receive another very valuable feedback. I didn't find information I was looking for. Yeah, very valuable.
What challenges do you have for maintaining images? What challenges do you have maintaining images?
The challenge is updating new updates, firmware updates, and I need to keep track of new releases of the firmware, and I need to redo them, in terms of the screenshots. But in terms of physical interactions with hands, and it's more or less stable because we try not to show the UI that much because it might change. But for screenshots, those complex screenshots with all the explanations and the modules on top, yeah, I had to change them quite often. And I used Miro for this. It allows me to quickly just copy and paste a new screenshot and embed it into this this whole image. Yeah.
Sorry, another one. Would you say this is the most common use case for your device, or is there not one above all others?
There are multiple use cases for this device, and most probably important features are reading and copying radio remotes, contactless cards, infrared remotes. It's mostly used for interacting with access control systems, and those who use these technologies for their professional needs, like penetration testing engineers who need to make sure that the building is protected and it's hard to breach and get access by hackers. So that's the main use case.
Sorry, you have to speak into the mic.
What channels do you publish on? So say, do you have a YouTube channel for your videos, or is everything contained in the user guide?
Sorry, I'll just approach, sorry.
What channels are you publishing on? So if you've got a videographer who's making videos about the product, are you publishing those separately, or are they contained in a user guide? Because you see a lot of product sites on YouTube, for example.
These video instructions are specifically only for our documentation, but our videographers, they film various videos and they post them on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit, I guess. Yeah. So social media, it's mostly for advertisement and marketing,
Anyone else?
I have a question of more sophisticated documentation, if you have any. So basically, we've seen lots of examples of how to use this device, for beginners. But what about, people who create these shields that can be inserted into GPIO ports or something like that? Do you have any, different style of documentation for those people? Because
Yes.
there are like white papers or data sheets or anything like that?
Yes, we do. As I said, the majority are the beginners, but we also have professionals. And for professionals, we have special pages with pinouts, like description of all the technical details and how to connect and what's the current should be, what's the load of the current, the limitation is. And for them, we of course provide such information, but we also share drawings, blueprints, and we share schematics for those who want to create their own modules, hardware modules for the device.
It's just, I assume it also uses more like textual information, proper tables, rather than videos and...
Yeah, of course. So maybe we'll do in the future special like documentation courses with videos, how to create your own hardware module for beginners. Maybe, we'll see.
Got time for one more question?
Because this is a brand new device that nobody's ever used before, obviously like you released the documentation with the product. So I was just wondering, how did you come up with like the initial documentation suite? What did that process look like?
Unfortunately, I cannot answer this question because I joined the company when there was some kind of documentation, and I only developed it and expanded it. So there was another technical writer, but then I joined and I just continued what the person started.
Anyone else? Otherwise, I'm going to sneak one in, if you don't mind. Regarding your target audience, how did you actually figure out how many beginners versus professionals there were? Because you mentioned that there's like a roughly 5-to-1, 4-to-1 ratio.
This information is based on the marketing research. Those who did that. I didn't take part in this. I only took information from the style guides where the audience is described. So, but there are other people who do that. Yeah.
All right, one more. It's fascinating.
How do you adapt your documentation for AI usage? Because nowadays people don't really read; they would just drop a question. So do you proceed?
As I said, we use special platform that's developed by another team. It's called RGB, and I asked them this question: if there have anything that helps large language models to index our documentation well. And it turns out they have special markdown files that generate automatically, and they are consumed by ChatGPT, Gemini, and others automatically.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Alexey. Let's give a round of applause for his presentation. All right, so we'll be taking a 15-minute break, so let's get back here by 8 o'clock to hear about quick start guides. Thank you.
Welcome back from the break. I hope you enjoyed the pizza and drinks there. And I think that now we're ready to talk about quick start guides and where they can be found and how we at Flipper Devices develop them. Where can you find a quick start guide? Usually you find them whenever you buy a hardware, like a device, and there is a paper in the box that most of the people do not ever read and skip right away. Here is the definition of the quick start guide, and I highlighted the most important words. It's a user-friendly document that helps new users to set the initial setup, 4 steps for the initial setup. And quick start guides usually look like this, step-by-step instructions with visuals, how to physically interact with devices, and almost no UI shown here. I will get to it a little bit later. And our devices also have quick start guides. We usually place them on top of the devices in the box. And here on the left is a quick start box and the quick start guide for Flipper Zero of this device. And here is quick start guide in the box for a hardware module. Do you remember the video how to insert? Yeah, that. We also have a quick start guide for this. There is an interesting thing about quick start guides. There is a paradox, I would say, that you as a technical writer need to finish the quick start guide when the UI is still in work. That sounds crazy, and it actually blew my mind when I learned it for the first time. And why is it happening? That's because of logistics. Production actually starts months before the official release, start of sales. And they do this because the stores need to accumulate inventory to launch sales and start selling devices right away. No one wants to run out of devices in the first day of this sales launch. And it leads to an interesting situation when device leaves the factory with a 100% ready hardware, but not finished firmware. Unfinished beta firmware is flashed onto the device and then shipped. And actually, it's common. For example, Apple, tomorrow the official sales start for their new iPhone 17, and they released their latest iOS 26 only several days ago. But the phones that you will be able to purchase from tomorrow were produced months before. Like they usually start test batches in June and then full-scale production in July. And that's why whenever you get a new phone, like starting tomorrow, you will be very kindly asked to update your firmware because there is a factory unfinished firmware flashed onto an iPhone. And it leads to an interesting rule of thumb that if you're not sure about the UI, the user flow of your user interface, then do not show it on the printed quick start guide because you will regret it. The risk, of course, that you will have to destroy the whole quick start guide batch. It could be dozens of thousands of printed guides. But another interesting alternative way to do this, to share a quick start guide, is to just include a link into the box. And some companies do this, just a QR code that leads to a website where they can update instructions as necessary whenever they need it. But for us, again, a new device, brand new, never existed before, we care so much about user experience, the first steps that users go through with the device. And we do not want users to grab their phones, scan the QR code, and then try to learn how to use our device on another device and on a tiny screen. And the first steps of user experience will be ruined. We don't want that. What if there is no internet connection? What if there is no phone available at the moment? And if your device is new and complex, you need to include a quick start guide. And for example, Apple with one of the latest products, Apple Vision Pro, even though they have a huge team of content creators, videographers on YouTube, they have multiple videos how to use their augmented reality device, they still include a very nice looking quick start guide. And it's because the device is so complex, this quick start guide looks like a book actually. And here is a screenshot from a video. It's like a review of this quick start guide. Okay, we decided, yes, our product is new, it's complex, we need to start writing, right? Not so quickly. There is another problem. The problem is called a box. You might think, guys, like, how does box affect quick start guides? Actually, it does, and it determines the size and the layout of the quick start guides. Why? Because not only there is a quick start the box, there is also a cutout. For example, here on the right, there is a box from Mac Mini M4, and there is a circle cutout, like cylindrical cutout in the middle, and it means that the quick start guide must look like this. I can only imagine faces of designers and technical writers at Apple when they saw that they would have to do this. And they did it this way. Yeah. And of course, box dictates the layout of your quick start guides. And this is how we need to keep in mind the available area, the size of paper, how many folds will be there, and it will detect the structure and where the various sections of the quick start guide will be split. For example, there is another quick start guide I found. Yeah, so those folds here determine where the sections will be split and where the instructions will be split. And they're actually quite brave because they show UI. Yeah. Let's talk about our experience. Let's talk about this device, how we developed a quick start guide for it. When I learned that we need a quick start guide, I was shown this prototype of the box. It's 3D printed. And I was told that the available area for my quick start guide is only 150 by 35 millimeters. I was shocked because I didn't know how can one squeeze that much information into this size of paper. Yeah, for the reference, it looks like this. But then I stopped panicking and I thought, okay, I can just unfold it. Exactly. And so I have like 4 folds and I can print on both sides. That's exactly what we did. And we started working on the quick start guide. And here are different versions of this quick start guide, from the very rough version number 1, absolutely nothing beautiful about it. But then we started to iterate. We decided to discuss. We discussed various information, various steps that need to be included into the quick start guide. And only after version 4 we invited designers. So all this was done by technical writers. So we had to think visually. We have to think about the data organization and so on. And once we invited designers, that's how the final result looks like. It looks nice, it looks beautiful. For the reference, I added the horizontal lines where the fold lines will be. It shows the very nice looking image to attract the reader right away when they will find the guide in the box. And it also shows instructions on how to start it for the first time, where explains controls, explains modes, where the USB port is, because the USB port is at the bottom and it's actually hidden over there, and we need to show explicitly where it is and how to insert a USB cable and where to get the mobile application and how to mount this device onto a monitor, because there is a built-in monitor mount and it's positioned like this. And it's designed for large monitors, not for laptops, but we had to show it. And then various links and where the rest of the links can be found. Okay, so no matter how beautiful and amazing looking your quick start guide is, if it's placed in a wrong place, no one will read it. So that's why we try to place them on top of the device for Flipper Zero and Flipper like a video game module for Flipper Zero. For this device, it will be placed right under the device. So the device is lifted and the quick start guides will be there, waiting for the reader. For example, Apple does with their Apple Watch this way. They show the instructions, the quick start guide in the packaging itself. All right, so what about instructions on stickers? Do you remember those unskippable instructions that I mentioned in the very beginning? Those instructions on stickers. And what do I mean by those unskippable instructions on stickers? Devices have to be protected from scratches. And so that's why if there is a display, usually there is a protective screen or film that protects the device from unwanted damages. And some of the stickers may include very important instructions on them. The idea is that those very important instructions will be read by the person while peeling off from the screen. And that's why they're used for very important things, like if a reader, for example, skips them, they will get extremely frustrated because the device would not turn on. Let's have a example of busy bar stickers. We have stickers with instructions on the main screen and at the back. Imagine you see this device in front of you. Sorry, I have a cursor there. Yeah, you see this device in front of you with mechanical controls. And on the left, you see that the mode selector is in off position. How would you turn on this device? Just rotate the selector?
It says start. Well, turn to busy, that's right.
No. Actually, when you need to turn the device for the first time, you need to press and hold this back button. And I was as confused as you are at the moment, and I even asked the developers, guys, are you crazy? Why are you making things unnecessarily complex? Why not keep it like in off position, then turn it on and just enjoy the device right away? But no, there's several things that need to be kept in mind here to understand. There's one interesting thing in this device, and this thing is called a battery. Batteries are super cool. They allow us to have portable devices on our wrists, in our pockets, laptops as well. And those batteries need to be charged when you get the device and turn it on for the first time. So that's why the device needs to preserve its battery even though it was produced months before you get it, right? It's not possible, right? So with a regular running battery to preserve this charge, because our phones discharge in 1 to maybe 3 days. That's the first thing. Another thing, that batteries are very good at burning. And sometimes it can get even worse. For example, we take a battery which is active and put it inside of a device, and then this device inside of a container, and this container with a bunch of other containers, and send it into the ocean, and this happens. Of course, no one wants this, and especially regulators. So that's why there are some regulations that require batteries to be in a special state of low power consumption and to be protected from accidental activation. This holding the back button for 3 seconds, where it stems from. And this transport mode is very important. As I mentioned, it's important for preserving charge, and so there will be no hazards. And we as technical writers need to communicate this to the user, to the end user, otherwise they will be extremely frustrated. They will be trying to turn it on and off, back and forth for hours, and then complaining, and then sending various reports and creating social media posts that you guys made something that doesn't work. We don't want that. So that's why we need to create an instruction that says clearly that the device needs to be turned on for the first time only by pressing the back button. And we do this by using the stickers that I mentioned. We have 2 stickers for the front display and for the back display. The display is here, but the whole back surface is glossy, and we need to protect it as well. And we designed such stickers that clearly say that they need to be removed. They clearly say what you need to do in order to start it, and where this button is located. And then, of course, the user will throw it away, and we'll be using the the mode selector, and this is exactly how it will be working. So this only applies for the first start. All right. There is another type of instructions that you can find, but quite rarely. Those are instructions in boxes, and I probably saw it only once in my life, but they exist. And so the idea is to show the steps in the box and not to print the quick start guides. Why do companies do this? Money and ecology, but I think mostly money, because they don't spend that much money on the Quick Start Guide, because Quick Start Guide is supposed to be having very nice paper, like coated paper with very nice visuals. But some companies decided not to do that. And what are the drawbacks of this approach? Boxes usually have very limited area available for instructions. The more text you have, the higher there is a chance for a typo. And also, quite often, such instructions are printed onto cardboard, and cardboard are not good for high-quality visuals. Yeah, those are the risks. And the last type of instructions I will be telling you today is instructions on the device. Both our Flipper Zero and BusyBar have such instructions. And the idea is that such instructions are always available whenever you need it. And here we show how to insert the microSD card correctly, not to break the microSD slot. And here, how to correctly, sorry for the poor quality of the render, but how to how to mount this device onto a monitor. Since I'm from aviation, from aerospace industry, here where we use instructions, here, for example, they show where to cut the fuselage of an airplane in case of an emergency in order to get access into the airplane. Here, how to open the door in case of an emergency. And here, how to open the emergency door in case of an emergency. You see the pattern. It's emergency, emergency, emergency. So the idea is that the instructions must be available at the right moment, and no one will be reading a manual while they're like crushing an airplane, and so while the people need to be rescued. And so that's why they are available there and are always there. What about this BusyBar device? Why we decided to include this instruction how to mount? This is a new thing. The built-in, I'll show you. The built-in monitor mounts, and not that many people know how to use it. And we need to show it because if someone tries to do that on their own, the way they understand it, the device might just fall and be destroyed completely. We don't want that, and that's why, as a preventive measure, we included this instruction on the device itself. Like around 3 weeks ago, I went to the Japan House in London, and there was an amazing exhibition about pictograms and why they're so amazing and why they work better than the text. And here an example, here's the picture I took there. I was so impressed by it that it's like a sign probably somewhere at the airport, how to find various areas there, and the alternative text that says the same thing. And of course, pictograms are much, much easier to read. And so that's why they're quite often used on for those instructions on devices or in aviation industry and in hardware development. But what is the risk? When you overuse such pictograms and instructions, you can end up having your device looking like this. And no one wants that. Yeah, so that's why caution should be applied here, and so we should be very mindful of where to use such instructions and for what cases. I'm gradually getting to the end of my presentation here, and I just wanted to say that we are technical writers, and it implies that we are supposed to write about technical stuff. But I think that these days it's more and more important to also become a designer in one way or another, because the way we craft our documentation, the way we build our pages will determine if it will be enjoyable for the reader, if the reader will follow your instructions, and the devices are becoming more and more complex these days. And I think that's in our power to make users make fewer mistakes, fewer devices will be damaged or destroyed. And I think that it's in our power to make our world a little bit safer and better place. Thank you. Yeah, the Q&A, and this is my LinkedIn. If you want to discuss documentation, user documentation, feel free to scan.
In regard of the 3-second button, there must be also another functionality, is it?
Mm-hmm.
What would it be?
Sorry.
What was the question? Sorry.
What was the other functionality of the 3-second button?
The back button.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. The functionality is just to go back. Yeah, it's just to go back and quit applications. That's it. And also it can, and also it's used for hardware reboots. It's like a very low level hardware reboot. Yeah.
Basically, I have the question about the same button. Why don't we, like you basically, when designing the device, didn't you give a fighting chance for people without a piece of documentation to figure it out with the button? Basically, the button only says back, as far as I can see from the images. Why can't we put something notifying people that they can maybe, reboot it or turn it on with the same button on the button itself or nearby on the device itself?
This action of pressing the back button for 3 seconds is only required when you start the device for the first time, when you need to activate it from a very, very deep sleep mode. And if we write it on the device without opportunity to remove it, it will stay there forever. So that's why we have stickers, and they are applied here, and they show where the button is located and why we need to press it and in what case.
So it is not expected to be used anytime maybe the device went off without power. We don't need it to switch it back on?
If device is without power, we have instruction in the quick start guides that you need to connect a USB cable, and it will activate, and the power from the USB cable will activate the device.
Yes.
Anyone else?
This is maybe more of a question for the first thing, but I forgot to ask. Who wrote your style guide?
We have an editor, Alexey Zakharov. She created this style guide and she maintains it till this day. Yeah.
Is there ever a case where you disagree with it and want it changed? Or
of course there are. Of course there are such situations, and we discuss it, and if necessary, we can adapt the style guides.
In following your talk, it seems like you have a very well integrated work process with other colleagues to be able to input into the actual manufacture of the device itself seems incredible to me, because I think a lot of software technical writers, for example, struggle sometimes to get that level of interaction with their colleagues. Would you say that's true in your company, that everybody is very accepting of each other's role in the situation?
Yes, because we are a startup and we are very close to geographically. We are here and we can talk to each other and we discuss various issues, and we can, for example, I used to sit very close to the head of manufacturing, and I could discuss various things like in person, and also I sit close to designers and I can discuss various things with the UI, and yeah, it's like a person-to-person interaction that's very widely spread in our company, and it helps us to keep everything like updated and keep track of things. Yeah. Have I answered your question?
So another question about content application. Basically, if you have this physical quick start guide or any other documentation with the device, But let's imagine after a few years and after changing flats, we could lose that. So we have only the device. I assume at least there should be some kind of policy, some kind of enablement for users can find the same piece of information, but in your online website. Right?
Yes, yes. On all of our devices, like as of now, we have only fully developed documentation, user documentation for Flipper Zero. But the first document that we have there is called First Start. So basically, it repeats stats from the Quick Start Guide in case someone loses the Quick Start Guide, the printed Quick Start Guide, or buys the device without any documentation. Yeah, and we will have the same for the BusyBar device, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions in the back? No? Anyone else? I've got a really quick one, actually, or maybe it's not quick. Do you have an instance where in your process of documenting the Quick Start Guide or other documentation, you actually found improvements, so to speak, that could be made in the hardware?
The improvements not to use the back button to turn it on for the device for the first time, but of course it's in the hardware. We can't do this, and so quite often as I said, we need to we need to finish the Quick Start Guide while the hardware is finished, but the software is still in development. But we don't show the UI in the Quick Start Guide because it might change, but the hardware it's really hard to change, and so that's why there's nothing we can do about it. We can only document the processes as is.
Yeah.
Roughly how long did it take to complete the documentation for the BusyBar from when you first heard about it to its release?
The Quick Start Guide?
Yes.
For the Quick Start Guides, we use this iterative process. I did something, and then for the meeting on Thursday, for example, I showed what we've got, like version 1, version 2, like 1 month and a half, I guess. Like we got like 5-6 versions.
Okay.
Any more?
Last question, I swear. So basically, we have now some additional requirements and understanding what to follow in terms of accessibility for the web documentation. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, are there any guidance how to deal with that problem with accessibility of documentation when we're talking about physical one that you put with the device? Is there any way for people, with visual impairment, for example, to get this guidance somehow?
That's a good question, of course, and we try our best to include the alt text, of course, for those who consume information with the readers. Like they can read there's like special equipment that helps them to read what's written, and hear it. And we try our best to do this, and we try to include it. But I guess that's all we do as of now, unfortunately.
But then, just to go further, the device should also provide accessibility. So it wouldn't make sense, really, otherwise, would it?
It's a physical device with physical buttons. It's already quite touchable.
Yeah, but you cannot see what's on the screen.
That's a challenge.
So, yeah, that's a challenge. Good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the accessibility features in the software are implemented as of now, but the device is still in development.
Any more? You already have a few passionate users potentially of the Flipgrid device. Well, thank you so much, Alexey. This was absolutely brilliant. Let's give a round of applause.